Congressman Steve Southerland of Florida and Congressman John Fleming of Louisiana. Both of these men, both of you, are going to vote against your leader, against the Speaker on this. Why?
Well, we have great concerns that this doesn't go far enough to really solve the problems that we face. I whipped lean no yesterday. Nothing that I've seen today really changes me wanting to go in the other direction. And you know, America needs to understand we have significant problems that we face. A mountain of unfunded mandates, closing in on $100 trillion, and this does nothing to prevent us from continuing to move towards a crash course.
Now, there are probably people out there saying, how could these two members of Congress vote against keeping taxes in place for everybody except millionaires? What's wrong with raising taxes on millionaires?
Well, Dana, you have to understand that the higher income earners are small business owners, and they're the ones who hire people. And we have a very steep progressive tax system. And for us to pull out of this recovery, you know, we have the highest unemployed rate in terms of people sitting on the sidelines, 23 million Americans since 1982. If we want to increase revenue, we need more taxpayers. The way to do that is to employ more people. And by taxing business owners, that's going to be very difficult. We're going to continue to see an anemic recovery.
Now, the reason the Speaker is saying that he's doing this is for lots of reasons, but one of them is to try to, you know, kind of grease the wheels with the larger negotiations. Yesterday, the President said, take the deal. He said he thinks part of the reason why the deal isn't going through is because of him, because Republicans like you don't want to sign on to something that the President has signed on to.
Well, let me be very clear regarding the President. It is very clear that he's doing everything within his power to take us over the cliff. And he is set on dividing us. Whereas I want to commend our Speaker because he's working as hard as he can, as other members of our leadership, to keep us whole, to make sure that we aren't divided, to make sure that we are a strong country, that we do create jobs, to move that economy forward. The President has said, look, this bill is dead on arrival. It will not be heard in the Senate, and it would be vetoed if it made it to the President's desk. So the American people hear what the President is saying. I am doing everything I can to make sure we go over the cliff.
Now, you say that the President is trying to go over the cliff. The White House, the President himself argued yesterday that he's given a lot, and there are a lot of people in his own party who are not happy with some of the things that he's given on, particularly on spending cuts in these negotiations with the Speaker.
Well, Dana, the President ran on $3 cut to every increase of $1 in taxation. He's already breaking his promise. The offer he made to us was less than a 1-to-1 ratio, and those cuts are not real cuts at all. They're artificial future theoretical cuts, and then he added back more stimulus spending. And so it's really going to increase spending. He's really going against his own promise to the American people.
Now, the Democrats, particularly at the White House, they argue that they're having a lot of trouble getting a deal just 12 days out with the Speaker because he can't control his caucus. The fact that you all are voting against him on this, on raising taxes for millionaires and up, is that, you know, are you proving their point?
Well, I would argue that we're not doing what, as you suggest. We're not voting to cut taxes for everybody but millionaires. What we're doing with this vote is to increase taxes on millionaires, and by the time this thing makes its way by the President, it'll be down to $400,000 or maybe $250,000 income people, which in some states is middle class. So I would argue that our vote that we took in August was very simple. We voted to extend the Bush tax rates for everybody. That's the way to push America forward. What we're going to do today, if we vote yes on this bill, we're going to be increasing taxes for certain segments.
Hey, Dana, real quick, if you can ask the lawmakers
this,
because this is something that the President started off with saying, okay, $250,000, everybody above would be taxed more. Now he's raised that to $400,000. Boehner is saying more than a million. Is there some compromise in between there? Perhaps people making $500,000, $600,000, where you just bring those numbers a little bit closer together. Would they be open to something like that?
Suzanne is asking if, you know, since the President right now in his negotiations with the Speaker is talking about income levels of $400,000, keeping taxes low for those. The Speaker is saying $1 million. Do you think that there's a middle ground in between? I know you all are even opposed to $1 million, so it might be hard for you to answer, but just knowing your colleagues, do you think that that is any potential that could get through the House?
I think that's going to be very difficult because you still haven't solved the problem. I mean, we know that the president, when he was going after the 250, created enough revenue to run this place for 8 days. So, you know, we're talking less than that now. We're still running around the fundamental problem. And it is not a revenue issue here. It is a spending issue, and that must be addressed. And I think that, you know, you're saying how difficult we are. No, I think we're realist. And I think we've all voted and claimed that our problem is spending, and now we have to pass legislation that mirrors that.
Thank you.
The polls are with us on this. They say the American people, more than anything, want to see spending cuts rather than tax increase.
Thank you both for joining us. To be clear, I was just giving you the White House's argument.
No, it wasn't your assertion. Okay. It was the White House. I got it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And Suzanne, this really is a perfect illustration of how things really are very difficult, because there are genuine philosophical differences on how to address this very, very real budget crisis in this country.
And even the Republicans, we see the Republicans are divided as well. Dana, thank you very much for following up on that. Of course, we're going to be taking a look at the vote as it happens in the aftermath. We're also following the other story that